Got it.
Have we got there, Charles?
You got there. There you go. The best laid plans of my sins.
I was like, it's not there. Is it? Here we are then. We're here.
I make a big screen now. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. That's better. I can see you properly now. Good.
I'm iPad, so I'm vertical, so it's smaller on my end. If I go sideways, you won't see me properly.
Okay. I don't like the way it's just as well about too vague because the cameras always distort how you look on these things.
Yeah. You can bring them a bit closer if you click underneath. It brings it a bit closer. Right.
Yeah. Anyway, morning.
Morning, Charles.
Thanks for agreeing to come on to my first LinkedIn Live. We'll see where we go. And we've talked enough. Let's skip some of the niceties. We'll come back to the niceties in a little while. Let's talk about what do you do, James? Tell us about your work.
So I've got my own business. I've been doing that for 14 and a half years now. Been a bit of a journey. So I've gone from being a personal trainer to a strength and conditioning coach, now a human movement specialist. So I try and combine all those three sort of learnings, what I've done together, to help people to get out of pain and get back to moving a better quality of life.
Okay, so break them up into three components there. Tell us a bit about each of them and how they interrelate and what the difference is between them, because they're all
fancy words, right?
Personal trainer does, but beyond that, I'm a little bit. What is a human movement specialist? All that kind of thing. Can you sort of give us a bit more flavour to them?
Yeah. So, human movement specialist is all about human movement, right? So, it's assessing how the body works as a whole. So, if somebody was, for instance, coming to me with back pain or hip pain, whatever the pain or injury problem is, we always start with an overhead squat assessment. So we'll do a body weight squat, okay, and then we can see from all different angles how the body is moving, okay. So then we can see that they may have problems with the calves, the hamstrings, the hips, the glutes, their upper back. So all those different muscles all contributing to that overhead squat. Now we use the overhead squat assessment because it's the end range of the motion of all the limbs on the body. When we go down, we can start to see certain things happen. So we might see like heels lift off the floor. We might see the bum or the glutes may shift to one side. We may see like arms fall forward. We might see hyperlordosis, like a lumbar curve. Okay, so there's all those different options there. So then once that assessment is done, we can then move on to the exercises which will fix the patterns of movement in the body and ultimately tidy up the pain problems.
So is that a one-off intervention that you can do, or is this a series of interventions you're doing there to help take away the pain?
Yeah, so it just depends where they're at and where they come in for the help. So typically we'll do the assessment, and then I normally break it down into 3 or 4 week blocks of rehabilitation, and whether I need to see them or not, or I mean, so obviously I do some online now as well. So it just depends where they're at and how, because I know rehab can be quite boring sometimes for some people, and they'll forget to do it if they don't want to do it, but we get there eventually. So yeah, it can go on and on, but then even people that are not in pain. So, for instance, I work with quite a few like amateur athletes as well. So those guys, particularly not in pain, but their movement might be a little bit out. So when they're going up to play their sport, they've got these dysfunction patterns going on. So we can just tidy those up from there as well. So it's not always necessarily just pain. So yeah, it just depends where they're at on the journey.
Yeah. And when you talk about pain, are you talking about acute pain, which is very recent, or are you looking more at chronic pain, or both? Does it not make any difference to how you work?
I tend to go for people already active. Chronic pain, yeah, I've done a little bit of it, but again, I think chronic pain at the end of the day, it's just something that's been left for so long, it's got worse and worse.
Yeah.
So really, my job is to figure out what the root cause is behind what's going on. So we'll figure out on that assessment. So someone, for instance, may have the sign of arms fall forward on the squat, but it may have originated down below in the foot or the calf or the ankle, because they've got a tight ankle and they can't track the mobility properly on the ankles and knees. So then therefore the compensation pattern's gone up the body and finished up in the shoulders. But that's where the pain comes out, because that's probably the weak point of the chain. If that makes sense, it's just an example, but we're looking for that root cause, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you progressed from the personal trainer into this. What this is over. Obviously, you said you started as a personal trainer. You know, you did the human movement stuff. What was the trigger to take you into human movement? What was prompting you through these transitions to go from one thing to the next?
Absolutely. So started off as a personal trainer. To be honest, it was just all for the love of knowledge and wanting to know more about how the body works. I mean, I've had probably 3 or 4 quite bad injuries in my time while I've been in physical activity. And the question of why always comes to mind. Why does this keep happening? And you may see it in like sports such as football, like where a football player keeps popping the hamstrings, right? And why is it happening? Is it down to the hamstring, or is something deeper going on? Where's that root cause coming from? So, yeah, there's always been an interest around gaining more knowledge and just ultimately helping more clients, right? So, because when I started as a personal trainer, again, great qualification, but you don't really learn much on what's actually going on in the body and how you should move properly. And that's that point where I went into strength and conditioning as well, because I learned a lot more there about how actually how to train properly and do movements right as well in the gym. So
yeah. So does that answer the question why you do this? Is that your real why? What is the real driver for James that sort of got you into personal training, got through the transition to what you do? You know, what is it inside you that makes you tick? That makes you want to do that?
So I originally got into personal training when I was about 19. About 20, 22, 23 actually. Started training at 19 in the gym, very overweight. All through my childhood, wasn't moving very well, no energy, and one day I just woke up and I was like, I'm going to go to the gym. Never been before, don't really know anything about it. Those first 2 years, lost about 8 stone. When I was about 19 stone at the time, and I'm only quite a short lad. I'm only about 5'7", so you can imagine the height to width difference, right? So,
ratio, yeah.
And then when your last name's big, you don't really get a lot of slack at school, right? So yeah, it was just wanted to have a bit of a life transformation myself, because I was just fed up of being in a really bad place, really. So that's where it all started. Yeah. So yeah.
Good. And obviously, so you've been doing that for a good number of years now. Where do you see this going? Do you have a plan? Do you see a progression into something else beyond this, or is this you just sort of see yourself continue to do what you're doing now for the rest of your business life?
Wow, this is it. It's
big question, I know.
Yeah, we're going deep. I don't know really. I'll say I'm really enjoying what I'm doing at the moment. I'm working with a great variety of people all around the world. So I've got some great clients at the moment. The education side really interests me. I do want to get into more businesses this year. I've got my 2-hour workshop planned to go into businesses and teach people how to prevent pain problems. Those guys that sit all day, that sort of the sedentary jobs. So that's one of my plans for this year, see where that goes. But yeah, just carrying what I'm doing really, because I think the last couple of years have been quite difficult because of the COVID pandemic. So that sort of wiped me out, as you call it. So I've had to rebuild what I'm doing and how I'm doing it over the last couple of years. I've just got back to that point now where I'm fairly okay where I'm at. So yeah, I think that's about where I'm at for the moment. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people still just sort of have really caught up with themselves now that we've got the pandemic behind us, and even though there's still a lot of COVID around, we're learning to sort of shadow box it and get on with our lives despite that being there. So we can't sort of stay locked up inside forevermore. We have to get on and find the best way forward in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, carry on.
So I do think a lot of people have changed their lifestyle from that COVID pandemic and how they live. I think there's a lot of time for people to assess what they actually want to do in life. And I know a lot of people that are changing jobs. Even in my industry, people have stopped going to the gym because they realise, I don't want to travel half an hour to a gym, I may as well just use my garage or go outside and do some exercise. So definitely a big change for some.
Yeah, well, that's what I like about the videos I get from you. For people, I'm going to skip back to the beginning now. We've sort of got going a bit. So it's my pleasure this morning to introduce James Bacon from James, the Body Fix Coach, and I'm Charles Whittick from cwchanges.com. And I invited James to be part of my team as an associate, where our mission in life is to help businesses become more resilient. And emotional resilience requires physical resilience and nutritional resilience and a whole range of things that come together. And James is one of the associates in that. And I got to know James. Well, we've been connected on LinkedIn for quite some time, but more recently we've started chatting, and he introduced me to Peter Gregory, who James interviewed yesterday. He's a really nice guy. I highly recommend Peter. I, because of my own sort of some limitations in my body movements, I now get videos from James to how to look after my body better, which is a bit of an eye opener. And after we finished our chat, that's going to be my next port of call. But tell us a bit more about that aspect of the what people can do to help themselves, James, because it's easy to do, and it's a great way to start the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to exercise, I think a lot of people fear it because they think I've got to go kill myself for an hour a day and feel. And they don't want to get into that uncomfortableness, right? So my view is always the same. Doesn't matter what your age is or what your ability is. It's just figuring out where you are right now. So, like I said, with that overhead squat assessment, we can do that online with clients via Zoom, or they can send me a video, and then just picking apart what the movement patterns are. So very simple exercises put together that work on mobility, posture, flexibility, a little bit of strength work. 5 to 10 minutes a day, right? Something like that, maybe a little bit longer, depending. But that makes a huge difference to anyone's life, just a little bit of movement, especially with how we are living our lives right now. A lot of us are just sat down all the time. So having that little bit of 5 to 10 minutes a day, maybe going out for a walk or something like that as well during the day. That's all some people need. Most people aren't athletes. They don't need to train twice a day. They just need to move their bodies, right? So I think 10 minutes is fine if people are busy, they're running businesses, etc. So yeah,
it's great. It's good to hear that 10 minutes a day is enough, because I like to get out for a 25-minute walk during late morning. Typically I'll get out for a walk, but starting the day with the exercises certainly making a difference. I'm really glad of that I subscribe to that. I know I can feel it in my body, which is really nice. Sorry, go on.
I'm just agreeing with you.
Okay, we've got a question here in the chat, so let's pick that up from I don't know how to say your name. Is it Kokia Lane or Kokia Lane? What age do you find request your help, James?
What's that? Sorry.
What ages do you find request your help? Is there a kind of age band where people come to you? Are they sort of are they people 20s and 30s, or right the way through from 20 through to 85? You know what?
Yeah, so it's been a bit interesting, right? So I've always had different age groups depending on what I'm doing. But more recently, with the sort of what I do now, I'd say most of my clients sort of fall in between 40, and I think my oldest client at the moment is about 70. Right, so yeah, so there's nice little range there. I've got a few younger people as well, sort of as clients, but it definitely varies. I'm tending to get more people that just want to be able to move better at the moment and have that quality of life as to sort of getting older. Yeah, and it's quite a nice little group to work with, really. So it's quite refreshing.
Good stuff. Yeah. Okay. Comment from Kokia said it rhymes with tequila. Okay, so it's it's tequila. So I hope I've got that right now, tequila. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure I want some tequila this time of day, though.
It's a bit early, right? It's a bit early.
just a touch. Yeah. So what do you have any particular nuggets you can help people with to give viewers, listeners, any tips for self-care?
Absolutely. So I'll give a few tips. Yeah. So first one is make some time to stretch throughout the day. Okay. So again, depending on your job and what you're doing, so we'll go along the sitting down all day. So we have to remember that our body will adapt to whatever we give it. So if we are sat for long hours, the body will think that we need to be sat in this position. So it will start making those changes, right? So take some time throughout your day. If you sat down all day, get up, do some stretches, particularly on the hip flexors, so front of the thighs up, and then the calves, back of the legs, and the hamstrings. They're the ones that are going to get short generally from sitting down because the knees flexed all day like this. Hips are folded like this all day, right? So that's where a lot of problems come from. So do some stretching. It restores the length in your muscles if they've been short all day, and that will help with your posture. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one's a nice and simple one. Drink more water. Everyone says it, all the personal trainers say it, but it's important to stay hydrated. So we can go along the lines of, if you're working, you're dehydrated, you lose focus. That means your productivity goes down. You start to feel sleepy. I do it myself. If I'm sat down for a few hours, I'm like, oh, I need to drink of water, so I can start to feel the dry mouth, right? So have a drink of water, then I'm back on it again. So it's also a good excuse to get up and go get a drink. All right, so drink more water. Helps you to break down the food in your body as well. So water, stretching. Number 3, let me have a think for number 3. I'm going to say go out for some walking every day. Yeah, walking is very underrated as an exercise. And if you're not in the position right now where you can go to do a proper exercise session, just go out for a walk, because it's great for building up the aerobic system in the body. So that's the energy tank of the body, right? So the higher you can get that, the more energy output you'll have as well. So start small if you've not been out for a while, and just build it up every day and see how you feel. But adding that stretching after you've been for a walk, you'll be in a much better place.
Yes, I think that's the thing, is start small and build stuff. I noticed you saying yesterday when you're talking to was it Debbie?
Jenny.
Yeah. Jenny, sorry, Jenny. And if you're listening, and to Peter about the importance of habits, and starting small, building up slowly, and step by step. We get used to things that way. This thing of making a New Year's resolution, driving straight in, like you were mentioning yesterday, about planning into the gym at the beginning of the year, and then by the end of January it's all tailed off. It doesn't work that way. We need to be emotionally invested in the outcomes, and willpower will not achieve very little. We need to get emotionally invested in the outcomes. So step by step, I totally agree with that as the way forward for improving anything we're doing, really, across life. Jumping straight in is not usually the most effective way of doing things. Of course, we're all unique. We all have our own way of achieving things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you'd like to add before we just sort of close, James?
Yeah, I'd just say just start to put yourself first a little bit sometimes, because it's easy to neglect our own health and wellness, right? And we get so caught up in this busy lifestyle where we're doing all the time, and then we just forget about ourselves, and we just put everything else first. And before we know it, we find ourselves in a position where we're going, oh, I wish I started, right? So just make that little bit of time for yourself each day until it becomes that habit, and then just keep going with it and see how you feel. I mean, there's never any really competition. Any competition is against yourself, right? So just try and make small improvements for yourself each day, create new habits, and get some good sleep. That's it.
Yeah. I certainly agree. We've become. Oh, I've got another question from Kakila. Do you find many clients come to you because they have a crisis?
Crisis.
For me, the answer is yes. But we're chatting to you. So what do you find?
Oh, It's very rare. Most people come to me with pain problems, so you could call that a crisis. It depends on the context, what you mean, really. Again, people always come in for a deeper reason than what they say, right? I've had many people that say, oh, I'm in pain, but then the core reason may be that I can't play with my kids and move around properly during the day, so I want to get out of pain because of that reason. So we could call that a crisis, right? If they can't live their lives properly. So it just depends on the situation, I guess.
Yeah. Good. So any final closing thoughts then, James, before we bring our chat to a close?
That means I've got to think. No.
Oh, that
no
gets
closing thoughts. No closing thoughts, but thanks for having me on, Charles. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I got up nice and early for you this morning. I was like, I finished work about 10:30 last night. I was like, I need to go to bed because I'm up early for Charles, and then I've got a busy day ahead. So thanks for having me on, mate. Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you coming on too. Yeah, I think we've answered Kakila's question. She says that's what I meant, so that's good. Yeah. So if anybody wants to get some help from James, you can either contact James directly or get in touch with me. As I said, James is one of my associates at CW Changes, and our aim is to help businesses develop their resilience, and a resilient team throughout the business helps the business perform better, be more successful. So thanks to anybody who's been tuning in and listening or watching. And thanks again, James. I'm coming up to see you soon. So all the best.
Exciting times. Cheers, Charles.
Cheers, James. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.